So first of all, thanks a lot for coming to this Saturday morning. I know it's very tough. Same here. And the topic which I try to make it more relevant so that the larger audience can able to get at least benefits from some of the experiences I have over a period of year. Right now I'm in MX, but previous to that I was in leading the analytics vertical for InfoEdge Group, which primarily being known as Naukri.com, Shiksha, Jeevansathi, 99acres.com. How many of you know about Naukri.com? I think majority of you, probably. I know. Some point of time we need that kind of a site actually. Okay. So I think I'm glad to see the kind of audience, the kind of analytics summit has been happening. That was not the case once I started my PhD from IIT Delhi in early 2000. And that time there was no clue about what is machine learning, what is data mining, what is this. You would be surprised to know I built my first neural network model in 2003. And since then I'm still building it. And now I'm trying and making some of the experience which especially in the internet industry like InfoEdge, which I primarily spent around 4 years of the time and starting from scratch, building the whole team, building all the capabilities, trying and driving some the key metrics and the business impact that I try to showcase. And I also try to make it more interactive in terms of the demo. I'll show you how exactly the site was earlier versus now. And for many businesses like the traditional businesses, whether you call manufacturing or you can go any of the automobile any industry, the analytics could be a fancy terms. They hardly use analytics into that fashion, especially the data science into that fashion. They just want to have somebody who can generate reports for them. But for the company like internet company like Naukri.com, even anything, I think then it's a battle of survival. So the outline is just typically, first of all, why do we need data science for digital commerce? I would like to focus about digital commerce because sometimes people try and capture only e-commerce and we get misnomer about only the certain companies like Amazon or maybe Flipkart, those kind of e-commerce things. But essentially the digital commerce has wider role to play and many companies are coming it up with different business model. I try to just give you a glimpse of that, and obviously there are certain issues, challenges, and I'll try to cover some of the application side and give you the demo. Before I start, I think just to give you about how the digital commerce, I specifically use the term digital commerce unlike e-commerce. Otherwise the people just restrict themselves to the Amazon kind of setup. But if you look at the companies like search-based, they have built billions of dollar of business just by search itself. Like for example, everybody know about Google, and that's the generation which we are in, where we do all the kind of, in fact, instead of searching, we are now saying we are doing Googling. So now the term has replaced by the Google itself, the search term, and there are different marketplaces like Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, social also, everybody is now connected to that. There are various business models towards the peer-to-peer, whether Uber, Airbnb, and they're changing the life of every individuals, I would say, on the planet. Right now, if you see the 10 years back, the age we were in versus now, the things are really changed a lot. You need to really book a, let's say if you have to fly for airport, for wants to travel to airport, you have to book in advance early to catch early flight, and that takes generally you need that hardly comes on time, and you need to just worry about whether I'll be able to pick up the flight or not. Now you need to worry, you just have a calm sleep, and at 3 a.m. in the morning you just book at Uber and then go. So those kind of a power of technology now changing the lifestyle that we are in. Whether you call it lifestyle, I'd like to go for let's say movie, like unlike the DTH kind of scenarios, people are now getting used to those kind of setups, the various other websites. And I also would like to focus upon the live events, where actually I spent almost 4 years from building it scratch all the data science functions out there. Why I'm calling it as a live event, especially in India, like what are the live events? The job could be a live event, like you can really make money out of the job. The Jeevansathi again, especially in India, the wedding becomes a kind of live events for every individual. The property, the kind of investment you would like to have it, and the education. If you cover all the kind of a major milestone of a life, that particular InfoEdge group was actually in fact is doing it, and this is the company which is first company listed on BSE as the first internet company in India, and that is started in 2006. They actually listed over there, and they are still doing pretty good, and they have the investment in Zomato, like around 47% stake in Zomato, the Policy Bazaar. There are various, if you name many startups in the internet space, they must have investment into that. Now coming back to, I think this particular type of numbers you might have seen at various forums and places, and I just reiterate some of them just to give you again the same feeling why exactly it is important. As you know that for cross-selling, upselling, now data science is like prerequisite. You can't really live without this particular thing, like that 73% higher sales for companies which use especially the data science predictive analytics who have never done it versus that. And again, the customer experience is also important, especially internet companies. And internet companies more about I would say me and myself. In fact, everybody is like that. What you have in general, it doesn't really I care. I care about what you can offer to me. This is me, myself. This is the whole philosophy actually the internet companies are going towards to, and that's why they're going into the personalization, unlike the seller oriented, the segment oriented recommendation, things like that. They're more going about that area. And that's how the customer experience is becoming more key terms out there, and that's they try to enrich out of it. And obviously there's certain McKinsey report which says that the business margins increases by 60%. The another one says that personalized recommendation can, especially the online shoppers would like to go to the 45% more there where the personalized recommendation there, and obviously there are a lot of opportunity. Once a real-time personalization, it means if you can offer someone at the same time, then only you are able to get someone's attention. If you just offer some recommendation after 2 days, 3 days, nobody really care about. So it's a web journey. In fact, you have to show instantly all the recommendation, churn out all the data which you can generate on a real-time basis in terms of the click, in terms of the preferences, and I'll give you certain examples around that. And there are many more reasons. I think the issues are prominent. In fact, everybody knows about that issues. It's not like that the issue which I am citing it up here is not known. There are the similar issues, I would say. To give an examples, the data exposure issues, especially in the Nokia context. In fact, if you just take a simple applies, you sometimes might be wondering, Nokia doesn't work for me. One of the reason could be there 1.5 million applies comes on a daily basis. And think about the number of searches are happening. Almost 4 to 5 million searches are happening on a daily basis. Almost similar JD views are happening. So things about, and there are 100,000s of jobs are live at a given point of time. If you are in such a pool, let's say if I am a recruiter, if I am a talent acquisition guy, if I have to really scan through 1.5 million applies on a daily basis, irrespective of how much big community you can build it, it's very difficult to consume that one. Those kind of numbers are keep coming. And if you look at the CV, it's not easy. It's a simple, very unstructured in nature. And there you could say that everybody has their unique profile, I would say, because they may start it at a different point, they may have a different CTCs, different locations, different preferences, and to match someone's a good recommendation, you have to have hundreds of such data points to really make it work. And even a single data point missed, you just say that this job is not relevant to me, and that's the simple thing. To give an example, let's say location. I believe that many of people are very location sensitive. Well, we are reading the data. We have observed that there are 55% chances that Chennai guy can move to the Bangalore, but there are only 15% chances that Bangalore guy can move to the Chennai. I believe that probably the right. And I don't know who are those 15%. But anyway, maybe they may came from the Chennai itself. Okay. So I'm saying about there are a lot of inferences which you can drive out of the population journey, and especially in the job space, the space is not just being geographically closer to each other. I have seen that the observation like that the Delhi and Chandigarh are not closer. Delhi and Bangalore are closer as per the job application behavior is considered. So those kind of patterns you need to drive out of the data from the things called various kind of application logs or the views logs. The data is of various variety out there. Structured, unstructured. Structure could be your CTC, your location. In fact, location sometimes becomes semi-structured in nature because people write many locations in their preference list. And you could consider the various other structure fields could be your designation, your company, things of that nature. And obviously, CV itself is always unstructured in nature. And the volume I just mentioned to you. And the performance, I think irrespective of what systems you build, you can't really, you have to cater the real-time recommendation, which is like especially, I've seen the pattern around 10 o'clock, the moment people get into the office, especially on weekdays, your traffic shoot up. One of the reasons is that you don't really like your bosses. That's generally the case. And the moment you see their faces again, obviously let me do Naukri.com. And that's what essentially it happens. I've seen that the behavior, and sometimes you reaches at home at 10 o'clock in the night, then your wife says, okay, if you are married one, why don't you go for something else? I'm not happy about here. Then you again go for a high traffic. So that's how I've seen that traffic, especially in the Naukri cases. And it is, although I'm saying it's a 1.5 million applies or 4 million hits, but essentially in a particular hour like 10 to 11 in the morning, the hits could be, let's say, itself is 500,000 hits coming in just 1 hour. And you need to serve those recommendations at that speed and backend. In fact, I myself has designed those systems because that time hardly any systems on a real-time basis. That system essentially, you would be surprised to know, cater all the logs which are having it. I just mentioned 1.5 million applies. If you're thinking about 6 million of apply history need to go into a real time, that typically turning out to be around 270 million records. And think about the 50 million CVs that again structured and unstructured in nature. And at the same time, they have 300,000 jobs live at a given point of time. And you need to really, the person is at a certain speed. You need to just do the kind of text processing or your NLP, LSI, whatever you name, and even the collaborative filtering needs to run at the same speed. And the overall model, which is the basic content model, is essentially the neural network model. And everything has to run on a fly and give the recommendation in just milliseconds. And that too at a concurrency speed of again 20-30 concurrency in a second. So those kind of speeds has to be built in order to really understand the scale as well performance, because irrespective you build the solutions, that may not happen until unless that is scalable and highly good performance. Now think about this. This is I think I'll just spend majority of my time on this slide, and I'll try to connect each and every point where exactly this particular whole paradigm of data science switch into the digital commerce side of it. And some of the application, I'll just take first this slide and then replicate to the info age. Then you can really correlate that exactly everything has been done over a period of certain time. And in fact, once I joined info age, there's hardly like any system being given to the analytics, especially in the production systems. And first time I got a production system that is after waiting for 2 months, for 6 weeks, for night 10 hours. That was the system being given. And once I left, it was 30 analytics servers of 24 core, 128 GB RAM. And that was the scalable system that we have built over a period of time. And that covers exactly a spectrum of solutions on the digital commerce side. I think the first and foremost for any of the digital company is primarily the personalized recommendation systems. And I emphasize the word personalized, and I'll keep emphasizing this throughout my presentation because this is more about that. As you know that the customer is becoming less and less loyal and more demanding. You can't really give those offline recommendation or seller oriented recommendation or where you make more profit and doesn't really serve the purpose in the internet domain. It has to be precise, it has to be at an individual level preferences, and then only you are able to really get the actual conversions. Otherwise it won't happen. Suppose if I'm a person, if I'm in a, let's say, Bangalore based artist profession, if you give me the job of I would say maybe a product manager somewhere in, even in UK, it won't really match to my recommendation, and it doesn't really serve the purpose, although that particular job may give you such kind of revenue as a website, but that doesn't matter for someone. And in fact, if you go for, let's say, how many of you might be a vegetarian guys here? Maybe a lot, although the numbers are getting decreased day by day. But let's say I'm a vegetarian guy and someone will offer me non-veg dish. Will you accept it? Probably not. Never. Or maybe sometimes you may be adventurous enough to really taste it. But this is how the generally things happens. That's why it is like kind of you are cooking for someone, try and understanding what would be the taste but someone might be having it, what kind of food here might be tasted, what are the preferences someone might be having it, and try to really make a special dish for the someone as a form of personalized recommendation. That is what precisely an internet company is supposed to do. And I think majority of you might have gone through the Amazon website, I believe. Maybe the online shoppers is not like something which was 5 years back was very difficult to get someone, but now everybody does. In fact, their ration wala shops might be having their app. I was surprised to see my milkman, they have given me an app and they say that why don't you order before night what are the milk which you need, and I got the app from my doodh wala. This is what the things are getting into that crazy space, and that is because how the technologies are enabling us in the form of this particular thing. That's why I'm focusing on the personalized recommendation systems, and I'll give you some more flavor around that in some of these slides. Just keep a pause for a while here, but it is essentially main ingredients for any of the internet companies to survive. Another thing is semantic search, and instead of using the word search like the normal information retrieval, I emphasize the word of semantic here. To give you certain context, let's say I am a Java developer, fine, and I might have written the scripts like a Java developer and related technology, but some of the Hadoop jobs are there, or let's say semantic meaning could be, I think they give you better examples also here. Let's say business development manager versus sales manager. In many of the cases they are semantically the same, only the terms might be different. If you just search through the business development manager jobs, if you do not really understand that essentially the sales manager jobs that someone might be searching for in many organizations, it's just the name change is there to basically end up of having a different results altogether. So you may miss out many of such results unless you semantically map these two particular skill sets together or the designations together. To give you another examples here is, for example, you guys might be using the Google. If you are a traveler guy and if you search just simple Egypt, then probably some of the few recommendations or search results links would come like kind of their pyramids or other kind of travel locations. But if you are a kind of guy where you are interested in the political news, then there you will see that the kind of political unrest might be happening in that particular company might come up PF first. So those kind of personalizations are actually essentially doing it. If you wanted to see that there is no personalization effect, probably have a habit of incognito mode, then where you can just someone can not read your cookies and can able to do the job. And many times I've seen that the people are concerned about privacy, secrecy and all. And I'll tell you about, especially from my experience, privacy is a myth, especially into the internet company. You guys may confront me, but I could see that it's a myth, because think about the mobile which you're carrying it. It is tracking you every time and every moment, which calls you are making, where you are, what you're doing, every action is getting tagged. But majority of the big companies, majority of the good organizations try to make those informations only for making the personalized recommendation, only making your experience better and better. But the thing is, the data is available at every point of time. In fact, if you use, let's say Amazon may be knowing it, or even Google may be knowing you more than even your spouse may know about you, or even you may not be knowing, I am so. You will be surprised to know if you really see maybe the Google hierarchy somewhere or Google ontology, you may be somewhere placed, and you will be surprised to say that, oh, I am not so. But essentially your signals might be saying that you may have that kind of a profile, and they somehow tagged and put you some of the places where they are able to cater services or experience for you. That is what essentially the power of the data and the data science that particular internet company uses. So the semantic search is primarily about how you semantically drive those query, extract those queries, expand those queries into the semantic space, and have information about personalized inputs and then do it. To give an example of let's say Naukri job search, in fact, we are able to move from Naukri from job search to job recommendation site, but essentially still many people search out there. And if I am let's say a Java professional, if I have a 10 years experience and sitting in Bangalore, I may not be interested to a very entry level Java jobs. And the same times I may be interested to a Java or let's say Hibernate, Spring, those kind of profiles also into the nature. Then in that case, first of all, what we understand, let's take the term out, understand what are the related semantically meaningly skills associated with that particular skills, what are the designations that may have. Then we feed about information about the personalized information like location, the CTC, the designation, the experience someone might be having it. And then and another third aspect is about I would say what was the application behavior you might have done it. Let's say I might be sitting in Bangalore, but I am a northern guy and I would like to go back to my Delhi NCR region, and that probably I think many of you guys might be thinking about here the same thing. But my application behavior shows me that information, but my profile doesn't really reflect that information. That information also needs to go while you are doing the search. And every search is essentially have three elements. One is your information retrieval, what exactly your search term is doing, you just try and search around that. Second thing is your personalization, which is nothing but your profile personalization, your apply personalization, your other behavior personalization. And third aspect, generally many of the organizations take into account because they need to run the business also. Which are the jobs are kind of let's say hot jobs, classified jobs, some of the business rules, freshness, all those kind of layers sit on top of that, and then you able to get the results out of it. And that's what the semantic search more about that. The another aspect is contextual advertising. In fact, I spent good time about that. You might be seeing that every word is associated with a specific word. The contextual, you need to understand what is the context someone is searching for. In fact, in the InfoEdge space, we were having e-courses, like what kind of courses you may would like to use it for upskill yourselves to really progress in your career. And there, okay, I think it might went into the sleep mode, looks like. It means I should not stop so much on a particular slide. That's what it's showing. Yeah, we're back again. Yeah. The contextual advertising, like I was saying about, we were having e-courses as the platform that we offer, because many of the job aspirants actually can get their dream jobs only when they upskill themselves. And since the way we learn now versus we were getting maintained 20 years back is very different. Everybody can have their own self-paced way of learning. That's why they go for e-learning courses like that. And we were having those kind of courses that we need to offer. And there are a lot of keyword banners also being circulated. So our job was to how to really make it more contextualized, so that I could be able to have more and more courses people can really opt for that. And the reason that we did, in fact, the moment we did it, again it's the kind of real time, the moment someone is searching a particular type of keywords, the profile parameters, Think about the courses. What courses you'll go for it? So the data points which goes into that, your CV, your profile, the next role which your person can go into, your apply behavior, the course popularity, the course fee, the course the mode which they are in. There are a lot of such signals goes into, and then send you the recommendation which probably be the course you might be interested in. And that's what at the moment we make it live. In fact, although it was a small business or the very first revenue chain is coming up in, and we were able to increase 5 times revenue just from 4 million to 20 million just applying this particular engine out there. So it's just a simple work which you can just understand someone as a user and give them a right set of courses with the right set of expectation. You should be able to converge in. If you give me a course which I can't really afford, which is not relevant to me, irrespective of how many places you will showcase to me, I'll never go for it. That's generally the case for that. Let's say I was earlier worked in Citibank also, and these banks guys are really great, and they try to offer you whatever the best money they can get from you. Let's say their certain product was career protector or the watch guard or the balance transfer. It's like that you try to consolidate your balance, especially in US, to put into somewhere in another card, and where you actually incur less interest out of it. But irrespective of what mode you are in,